Some gifts arrive wrapped in kindness, but carry invisible strings attached. These seemingly thoughtful presents come with hidden demands, secret expectations, or silent debts that the giver plans to collect later. Right now, someone might be offering something that looks generous on the outside, but actually serves as a tool to control, manipulate, or trap others into uncomfortable situations. The scary part is that most people accept these gifts without thinking twice, because they appear harmless or even caring at first glance. But beneath the surface, these presents work like bait in a trap, designed to make the receiver feel obligated, guilty, or powerless to say no when the giver comes back asking for something in return. The truth is that not every gift comes from a pure heart, and learning to spot the warning signs can protect relationships, peace of mind, and personal freedom. Today we will walk through 5 specific types of gifts that should raise immediate red flags because they signal bad intentions from the person giving them. Each one has clear characteristics that make it different from genuine generosity, and understanding these differences will help protect against manipulation and control. This information matters because once these gifts are accepted, the damage often starts silently and builds over time. So before moving forward, make sure not to skip any part of this video because each section builds on the last one. If time is short, watch at 1.5 or 2 times speed instead of jumping around, because missing even one detail could mean missing the exact warning sign needed most. So let's jump right into the first type of gift that should make alarm bells ring in your head. Picture this scenario because it probably sounds familiar. Someone walks up to you with a big smile and hands you something expensive. Maybe it's the latest phone model, designer shoes, or some fancy gadget that costs way more than what normal friends or even family members would spend on each other. The moment you see it, something feels weird in your stomach. That feeling is not random. That feeling is your brain screaming at you to pay attention because something is wrong with this situation. Here's the thing about gifts that are way too expensive for the relationship. They are not really gifts at all. They are investments. The person giving them is not thinking about making you happy. They are thinking about what they can get from you later. This is the first gift you need to reject immediately, and it's called the overly expensive gift that creates instant debt. When someone gives you something that costs way more than what makes sense for how close you actually are, they are not being generous. They are building a trap. Think about it this way. When your co-worker, who you barely talk to, suddenly buys you a $600 watch for no reason, that's not friendship. When someone you just started dating 3 weeks ago shows up with diamond earrings, that's not romance. When a distant relative you see once a year hands you the expensive laptop you mentioned wanting one time in passing, that's not kindness. All of these situations have one thing in common. The gift is way bigger than the relationship can handle, and that mismatch is on purpose. The second you accept that expensive present, something changes in the relationship without you even realizing it. Suddenly you owe them something huge. Not because they said it out loud, but because the size of the gift created an unspoken debt in both of your minds. They know it and you feel it. Now every time they ask for something, you remember that expensive thing they gave you. They want to borrow money? Well, they bought you that thing. They need a huge favor that makes you uncomfortable. But remember what they spent on you. They treat you badly, but you want to walk away. How can you leave after everything they've done for you? See how the trap works? The gift becomes a weapon they use against you over and over again. And here's the really sneaky part. If you try to say no to the gift because it makes you uncomfortable, watch what happens. Suddenly they act hurt. They act like you insulted them. They make you feel guilty for not accepting their generosity. They might even say things like, "I just wanted to do something nice for you," or "Why are you making this weird?" or "I thought we were closer than this." Notice how they flip the script and make you the bad guy for having normal boundaries. That reaction alone tells you everything you need to know about their real intentions. Someone with good intentions respects your comfort level. Someone with bad intentions punishes you for having boundaries. The expensive gift is their way of forcing closeness and obligation that you never agreed to. Think about the people in your own circle right now. Has anyone given you something that felt too big, too soon, or too expensive for no good reason? Did they bring up that gift later when they wanted something from you? Did they make you feel bad for not being grateful enough? Those are the red flags waving right in front of your face. Here's what you need to understand. Saying no to these gifts early protects you from months or even years of manipulation. The moment you accept that overly expensive present, you give that person power over you. They will use it. Trust that. When someone tries to hand you something that makes you uncomfortable because it costs too much, you look them in the eye and you say something simple and clear. Thank you for thinking of me, but this is too much and I'm not comfortable accepting it. You don't need to explain more than that. You don't need to apologize for having boundaries. Real friends and good people will understand and respect your decision. Manipulators will get upset and try to pressure you. That difference tells you exactly who you're dealing with. Protect yourself by keeping relationships balanced and equal, because the person who gives you the world today is planning to take everything from you tomorrow. Moving to the second type of gift that needs to be rejected on sight. This one hits different because it feels so obvious once you see it, yet most people fall for it every single time. Think about a moment when someone gave you something nice, and then, almost immediately afterward, they asked you for something big. Or maybe they handed you a present while hinting about what they need from you. The timing felt suspicious, but you brushed it off because you didn't want to seem paranoid or ungrateful. That uncomfortable feeling was right. This is the gift with strings clearly attached, and it's the second thing you must reject immediately. These presents come wrapped in pretty paper, but inside there's always a price tag that has nothing to do with money. The giver makes it clear, either through their words or their actions, that this gift comes with expectations. Real gifts are simple. You give them because you care, and the only thing you expect back is maybe a thank you and a smile. But these manipulative gifts work completely different. They come with requirements, conditions, and obligations that you never agreed to. The giver treats the present like a business transaction where you now owe them something in return. Picture this kind of situation playing out. Your friend shows up with concert tickets and seems super excited to give them to you. Then in the same breath they mention how they really need someone to help them move next weekend, and it's going to take all day, and it's going to be exhausting. Or maybe a family member buys you something you mentioned wanting, and while handing it over they start talking about how they need to borrow a large amount of money soon and hope you'll help them out. Or someone at work gives you a gift card, then later that week they ask you to cover for them repeatedly, or take on extra work that's supposed to be their responsibility. Notice the pattern? The gift and the request come linked together like they were always part of the same deal. The manipulation here cuts deep because it puts you in an impossible position. If you refuse what they're asking for, you feel like an ungrateful jerk who doesn't appreciate what they did for you. But if you agree, you're accepting terms you never had a chance to negotiate. The manipulator knows exactly what they're doing. They're using the gift to soften you up, to make saying no feel wrong, to create guilt before you even know what they want from you. Here's where it gets even worse. These people often use gifts to get around boundaries you already set. Maybe you told them no about something important. Maybe you made it clear you weren't comfortable with a certain request. So what do? They show up with a present first, then ask again for the exact same thing you already refused. Now saying no a second time feels mean because they just gave you something. That's the whole strategy. They're not respecting your boundaries. They're trying to buy their way past them. Watch for the warning signs that tell you a gift has strings attached. The timing feels weird or too convenient. The giver mentions what they need right when they hand you the present. They make comments like, "Now you owe me," or "I'll remember this when I need something." When you hesitate or look uncomfortable, they pressure you by reminding you what they just gave you. And here's the biggest sign that most people miss. After the gift is given and you've done what they wanted, they bring up that gift again and again in future situations. It becomes their favorite reference point whenever they want something else from you. The damage from accepting these transactional gifts builds over time. Each time you give in, you teach the manipulator that their tactic works. So they do it more. The requests get bigger. The expectations grow. The boundaries you tried to set become meaningless because they learn they can just buy their way through them with strategic presence. Before you know it, you're trapped in a pattern where every gift comes with a job attached, and you can't remember the last time someone gave you something just because they cared. Breaking free from this pattern requires you to see it clearly and call it out directly. When someone hands you a gift and immediately starts talking about what they need from you, stop them right there. Ask straight up if there are expectations attached to this present. Watch their reaction carefully. People with good intentions will be confused by the question because it never crossed their mind to attach conditions. Manipulators will get defensive or try to make you feel bad for even asking. That reaction tells you everything. And if the gift clearly comes with strings, hand it back. Say something firm like, "I appreciate the thought, but I'm not comfortable with this if there are expectations involved." It might feel awkward in the moment, but that awkwardness protects you from way bigger problems down the road. Remember that gifts should never feel like transactions. The moment generosity comes with a price tag made of obligations and demands, it stops being generosity and becomes manipulation. Protect yourself by only accepting presents that are freely given with no strings, no conditions, and no expectations beyond basic gratitude. Anything else is not a gift. It's a trap. Now we're getting into territory that makes a lot of people squirm, because this third type of gift creates a special kind of uncomfortable that's hard to describe. But you're about to understand it perfectly, and once you see it, you'll never unsee it again. This is about those gifts that feel wrong the second you receive them, because they assume a closeness or intimacy that doesn't actually exist in the relationship. These are the inappropriate personal gifts that cross boundaries, and this is the third type you absolutely must reject immediately. Here's what makes these gifts so effective as manipulation tools. They force a level of connection that you never agreed to. Think about how relationships normally develop. Two people start casual, maybe as co-workers or acquaintances. Over time, if both people want it, things get closer. Trust builds. Comfort grows. Boundaries naturally shift because both sides feel safe. That process takes time, and it requires mutual consent every step of the way. But manipulators don't want to wait for that natural process. They want to skip ahead to a level of intimacy that benefits them, so they use gifts to force it. When someone gives you something that's way too personal for how well you actually know each other, they're making a statement. They're saying, "We're closer than we actually are," and hoping you'll just go along with it to avoid awkwardness. Let's talk about what these gifts actually look like in real situations. A coworker you barely talk to outside of work meetings suddenly gives you expensive perfume or cologne, which means they've been thinking about how you smell and what scents would be close to your body. A person you've been on 2 dates with shows up with lingerie, assuming they're going to see you wearing it soon. Someone you know casually gives you jewelry that has romantic meaning, like a necklace that typically signals a serious relationship. A neighbor you wave at sometimes gives you items for your bedroom or bathroom, showing they've been imagining your private spaces. An acquaintance gives you personal care products that require them to know private details about your body, your routines, or your preferences. Every single one of these situations should make you uncomfortable, and that discomfort is your brain trying to protect you. These gifts violate normal boundaries by treating a surface-level relationship like a deep, intimate connection. The person giving them knows exactly what they're doing. They're testing to see if they can push the relationship in a direction you haven't consented to. They're trying to create a sense of intimacy and obligation that makes it harder for you to maintain appropriate distance. The really damaging part is what happens after you accept one of these boundary-crossing gifts. By keeping it, you send a message that this level of intimacy is okay with you. The giver interprets your acceptance as permission. Now they feel entitled to behave more intimately in other ways. They might start making comments about your appearance or your body. They might assume they can ask personal questions or expect personal information. They might touch you more or stand closer than before. They might expect access to your time, your space, or your attention in ways that match the intimacy level the gift suggested. And if you try to pull back or re-establish boundaries later, they'll act confused and hurt because you accepted the gift, so I thought we had that kind of relationship. See how accepting one inappropriate gift creates a cascade of boundary violations. The manipulation works because it puts you in a position where setting normal boundaries feels like you're being rude or leading them on. The gift creates confusion. You start questioning yourself. Maybe you're overreacting. Maybe it was just a nice gesture. Maybe you somehow gave them the wrong idea. Maybe you're being ungrateful or making things weird when they were just trying to be kind.
Stop right there.
That confusion is intentional. The manipulator wants you to doubt your own discomfort so you won't push back. But here's the truth. If a gift makes you feel awkward, embarrassed, or uncomfortable because it's too personal or intimate for the relationship you actually have, your feeling is completely valid and you should listen to it immediately. The warning signs are usually pretty clear when you pay attention. The gift assumes knowledge about private parts of your life that this person shouldn't have. It's something that only romantic partners or very close friends would typically give. When you receive it, your first reaction is shock or embarrassment rather than happiness. The person makes comments while giving it that suggest a deeper relationship than exists, like calling you special or talking about how close they feel to you. Other people who see the gift seem surprised or uncomfortable that this person gave you something so personal. Trust those signals. They're telling you that someone is trying to push past your comfort zone without permission. Protecting yourself from these boundary-crossing gifts requires immediate action. Don't accept them. Don't keep them to avoid awkwardness. That temporary awkwardness is nothing compared to the ongoing violations that will follow if you let this behavior slide. When someone hands you an inappropriate gift, be direct. Say clearly that while you appreciate the thought, the gift doesn't match where you are in the relationship and you're not comfortable accepting it. You don't owe them a long explanation. You don't need to soften the rejection or worry about hurting their feelings. They crossed a line, and you're simply enforcing normal boundaries. Watch how they respond. People with good intentions will immediately apologize and respect your boundary. They'll be embarrassed that they made you uncomfortable. Manipulators will get defensive, act like you're overreacting, or try to make you feel guilty for rejecting their generosity. That response confirms exactly why you needed to reject the gift in the first place. Standing firm on this protects you from someone who's trying to force intimacy and closeness that you never consented to, and it sends a clear message that your boundaries matter more than their agenda. Now, what we're about to discuss right now is something that destroys relationships slowly and painfully, and it's one of the most painful patterns to break because it plays on hope and forgiveness. This is a lesson you cannot afford to ignore or take lightly, because accepting this fourth type of gift will trap you in cycles of hurt that repeat endlessly. Pay close attention because this information will change how you see certain people in your circle forever. This is about gifts given during or after conflicts, and it represents the fourth type of present you must reject immediately. Here's the manipulation pattern that plays out in homes, friendships, and relationships every single day. Something bad happens. Maybe someone says something cruel that cuts deep. Maybe they break a promise that really mattered. Maybe they betray trust in a way that causes real damage. Maybe they hurt you physically or emotionally or both. In that moment, you're rightfully upset. You're hurt. You want acknowledgement of what they did wrong. You need them to understand the pain they caused. You deserve a real apology and actual changed behavior going forward. But instead of doing any of that hard work, they show up with a gift. Flowers arrive at your door. Expensive dinner reservations get made. That thing you mentioned wanting suddenly appears. Jewelry shows up with a card. A thoughtful present gets handed over with puppy dog eyes. And here's what makes this so destructive. The gift is supposed to make everything okay instantly. It's supposed to erase the hurt, end the conversation about what went wrong, and allow everyone to move forward like nothing happened. Except everything did happen and nothing got resolved. Real reconciliation looks completely different from this gift-giving performance. When someone genuinely wants to make things right after causing harm, they do actual work. They acknowledge specifically what they did wrong. They show understanding of how their actions affected you. They take full responsibility without making excuses or blaming you. They commit clearly to changing the behavior that caused the problem. And most importantly, they follow through with actual changed actions over time. Words and gifts mean nothing without changed behavior. But manipulators skip all of those hard steps and jump straight to the gift because it's easier and faster. The gift becomes a shortcut past accountability. It's a way to buy forgiveness without earning it. It's a method to silence your legitimate complaints and concerns. Think about the common scenarios where this plays out. Arguments happen, and instead of talking through what caused the fight or addressing the underlying issues, expensive presents show up the next day. Hurtful behavior occurs repeatedly, and each time it's followed by flowers or gifts instead of actual apology or change. Betrayals happen, big ones that break trust completely, and the person tries to fix it with expensive items rather than rebuilding trust through consistent, trustworthy actions over months. Or maybe the most obvious pattern: harm happens, gift arrives, you forgive, everything seems fine for a bit. Then the exact same harmful behavior happens again, followed by another gift, and the cycle just repeats endlessly. This is emotional manipulation at a level that deserves to be called out clearly and loudly. The gift makes you feel pressured to forgive immediately before you've even processed what happened. It makes letting go of justified hurt feel mandatory because they tried to make it up to you. It pushes you to move on before anything is actually resolved, because refusing to accept the gift and move forward makes you look unreasonable or unforgiving. The person giving these gifts has learned something dangerous. They've learned that gifts work better than actual change. Why put in the effort to stop being hurtful when a gift accomplishes the same goal with way less work? Why examine their behavior and make real changes when throwing money at the problem makes it disappear? This is why accepting these gifts enables the harmful behavior to continue and often get worse over time. You're teaching them that their tactic works. The damage from this pattern runs deeper than most people realize. Your pain gets minimized because the gift is supposed to prove they care. So how can you still be upset? Your legitimate concerns go unaddressed because the conversation ended when the gift arrived. Trust never rebuilds properly because trust requires consistent changed behavior, not presence. And the toxic pattern continues because the person never faces real consequences for their actions. Meanwhile, you're stuck in a cycle where you get hurt, receive a gift, forgive, and then get hurt again in the exact same way. Watch for the warning signs that reveal this manipulation clearly. The gift arrives immediately after conflict with no real conversation happening first. The person acts like the gift should end all discussion about what happened. They get upset or frustrated if the gift doesn't instantly fix everything and make you happy again. Or most telling of all, gifts follow a predictable pattern where each time they hurt you, a present shows up right after. Breaking free from this destructive cycle requires refusing gifts that skip past necessary conversations. When someone tries to hand you a present after hurting you, don't accept it. Tell them clearly that you need actual acknowledgement, understanding, and changed behavior before anything can move forward. Explain that gifts don't replace accountability and can't substitute for real apologies. And pay attention to whether they're willing to do the actual work or if they just keep trying to throw gifts at the problem. Someone who repeatedly gives gifts after conflicts but never changes their harmful behavior is telling you clearly that they have no intention of actually stopping the hurt. They just want you to stop complaining about it. That's not love, care, or respect. That's control disguised as generosity. Protect yourself by demanding real change and refusing to let expensive presents become substitutes for the genuine transformation and accountability that every healthy relationship requires. Now, I need you to take a second and think about the gifts sitting in your home right now, or the ones people have given you recently. Some of them might be innocent, but some of them might be doing something you never agreed to. They might be watching. They might be tracking. They might be reporting back to the person who gave them. And the scariest part is that these gifts were probably handed to you with a smile and words about caring for your safety or wanting to stay connected. This brings us to the fifth and final type of gift you must reject immediately. These are gifts that come with surveillance or control built right into them. Think back to a time when someone gave you something that seemed helpful at first, but later you realized it gave them way too much access to your life. Maybe it was a phone or tablet they set up for you, and only later did you discover they could see your messages or track where you went. Maybe it was a subscription or account they paid for, but it required you to share the login information so they could monitor what you watched, read, or searched for. Maybe it was a tracking device sold to you as a safety tool, but they checked your location constantly and questioned everywhere you went. Maybe it was keys to their place or codes to their accounts, which seemed like trust at first, but turned into expectations that you'd always be available and accessible. Or maybe it was smart home devices, car accessories, or wearable technology that collected information about your daily patterns, your routines, and your activities. These gifts function as tools that give the giver power over your privacy, your movements, your communications, and your decisions. The manipulation works because these presents get disguised as gestures of care and concern. The giver talks about wanting to keep you safe, making your life more convenient, or staying connected because they care so much. They frame it as thoughtful and loving rather than controlling and invasive. But genuine care looks different from this. Real care respects privacy and autonomy. Real concern doesn't require constant monitoring. Real love trusts rather than surveys. So, when someone insists on giving you gifts that grant them surveillance capabilities or control over aspects of your life, question what's really happening. Ask yourself why they need that level of access. Wonder what they plan to do with that information. Notice if they get upset when you want privacy or independence. Here's the really dangerous part about these controlling gifts. Once accepted, the invasion grows gradually over time. It starts small and seems reasonable. They just want to make sure you got home safe, so they check your location once. Then it becomes checking several times a day. Then it becomes questioning why you went certain places or who you were with. They just want to help manage your schedule, so they have access to your calendar. Then they start making decisions about your time without asking. Then they get angry when you make plans they didn't approve. They just want to make sure you're okay, so they ask you to check in regularly. Then check-ins become hourly. Then missing a check-in by a few minutes causes accusations and fights. See how the surveillance expands? What started as one small request for access turns into complete monitoring of your entire existence. The isolation effect is real and serious. These gifts often work to limit your independence by making it harder to do things without the giver knowing. They monitor your relationships with other people and might interfere or create problems when you spend time with others. They create dependency where you need their permission or access to do normal activities. Think about whether anyone in your life has given you gifts that now make you feel watched, controlled, or unable to have privacy. Does someone seem overly interested in whether you're using the gift they gave? Do they get upset or accusatory if you don't use it constantly? Do they ask detailed questions that the gift's tracking features would reveal? Do they use information from the gift to control your decisions or criticize your relationships? These are serious warning signs that someone is using presents as surveillance tools. The danger here is bigger than most people realize. When you accept these gifts, you grant someone power over information that affects your safety, your freedom, and your ability to live independently. That power becomes increasingly difficult to escape because the person now knows your patterns, your locations, your contacts, and your routines. Protecting yourself requires recognizing that genuine care never demands surveillance. Question why someone needs tracking or monitoring access to your life. Refuse gifts that require surrendering your privacy or control. Understand that real safety tools don't require giving someone else surveillance capabilities over you. Watch for the red flags. The giver insists the gift must be used all the time. They emphasize how they'll know if it's not being used. They react with anger or accusations when you ask for privacy. They use the gift's information to control your decisions or interfere with your relationships. If you're already trapped with one of these controlling gifts, start creating boundaries now. Stop using the track device or disable location services. Change passwords that others have access to. Return keys or access codes. Be prepared for strong reactions because controlling people hate losing their surveillance capabilities, but your privacy and freedom matter more than their desire to monitor you. The truth is that anyone who truly cares about you will respect your right to privacy, independence, and autonomous decision-making. Anyone who gets angry at reasonable boundaries or insists on surveillance-level access to your life was never giving gifts from a place of genuine love or concern. They were giving gifts as tools of control, and rejecting those gifts protects everything that matters about living a free and independent life. So here's where everything comes together. Genuine gifts respect boundaries, match the relationship appropriately, come with zero expectations, acknowledge problems rather than hiding them, and honor your privacy and freedom completely. Manipulative gifts do the exact opposite, and they always benefit the giver more than they benefit you, no matter how generous they appear on the surface. Understanding these 5 types of gifts gives you protection that most people never develop, and that protection will save you from years of manipulation, control, and toxic relationships. The power of saying no to manipulative gifts cannot be overstated. Declining these presents protects your mental health, your personal freedom, your relationships, and your future peace from people who use generosity as a weapon. Feeling guilty about refusing gifts is completely normal, but remember that guilt is exactly what manipulators count on to make their tactics work. If a gift makes you uncomfortable, obligated, trapped, or confused, those feelings are valid warning signals that deserve to be honored immediately. Rejecting one manipulative gift today prevents months or years of escalating manipulation tomorrow. Be direct when refusing these gifts. Don't over-explain your reasons. Stay firm, even when pressured. Remember that people with genuine good intentions respect boundaries without argument, while manipulators fight boundaries every single time. Start watching for patterns now. Notice who gives what kinds of gifts and when. Pay attention to what happens after gifts are given. Track whether people bring up their gifts later to guilt you into things. These patterns reveal true intentions faster than words ever could. Here's the bottom line. Protecting yourself from manipulative gifts is necessary, healthy, and smart. Anyone who gets angry at your reasonable boundaries was never giving gifts from a good place to begin with. After everything you've learned in this video, going back to accepting these toxic gifts would be choosing manipulation over freedom. Don't be that person who knows better but does nothing with the knowledge. Click on the video popping up on your screen right now, because the algorithm knows exactly what you need to watch next to keep building the protection and awareness that will change your life.